We are farmers.
This is a 1977 AMC Pacer. The first Pacer came on the road in 1975. We have to go back to the early 70s when they decided to do the Pacer. The idea was to have a small car that was wide and would have the capabilities and handling capabilities of a large car. And the original Pacer was actually designed to have a Wankel motor put into it. And the Wankel motor was a rotary motor, and General Motors was going to build them, and we were going to buy them from GM. Well, at the last minute, what we would say the 11th hour, General Motors decided to pull the plug on the Wankel. So now we're stuck with a car that's due to go to production shortly, and we have no motor for it. So they had to scramble around and rethink things, and so they came up and put the same old six-cylinder motor that American Motors have been using for generations, the 232 and the 258 six-cylinder, into the car. So consequently, they had to redesign the whole front end. They had to make everything higher and wider and bigger and longer. The original design on the Wankel was a very streamlined car with a very short and fast deck lid, and the headlights were even hidden. It was a very nice looking car, but because of that, now we had to do this. So now the Pacer kind of lost its original intent. It's not going to be fuel efficient. It's going to be a lot heavier because of the new motor and all of the suspension and all of the new sheet metal. So they came out with the car in 1975, and there's no difference between a 75 and a 77 other than a couple of trim issues. But they had to come out with the car in that form, and actually the Pacer in its first year, they couldn't make enough of them. I think they sold like over 300,000 units. And it was amazing. Everybody, because it was out of the box, it was unique. If you notice the door cuts here, we were one of the first companies to do that. I think Mercedes Gullwing probably did that in the 50s, but nobody else did. And so now a lot of companies do this sort of thing where the door cuts are into the roof. The other thing about the door that's interesting, the passenger side door here is 4 inches longer from front to back than it is on the driver's side. And the reason for that is so that when you park the car at a curb, you could open up the door, and it was a lot easier for the passenger to get in the rear seat. So the other side, the door is 4 inches shorter. So one would say, well, why not make both doors the same size? Everything's symmetrical. Well, if you made that door on the other side the same length as this, it violated all kinds of safety regulations when you open it up into traffic. So they couldn't do that. Hence, the 4 inches wider on this side over the other side. The exterior volume of the car is 37% glass, more than any car in the industry. That's why they call it the fish bowl. I constantly get, what kind of fish do you have in the fish bowl today? And I'll tell my Mopar friends, well, it eats barracudas. You know, like Vince said, the air conditioning in this car is ice cold. They had to do that. I'm the second owner of this car. I bought it from the original owner in 2012. It had less than 30,000 miles on it. Now it's got 34.5. So it doesn't get driven a lot, but you know, I get her out. Underneath the doors, they were rusty. Up atop of the fenders, they were rusty. But this one was in pretty good condition. The interior, Vince was talking about the interior fabric, that what he called Western weave. When the guy sold me the car, he gave me a whole bolt of the fabric. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And I asked him, what did he need the bolt for? He says, well, I had the front seats reupholstered because I thought they were dirty. And he said I was going to reupholster the rear seats. Now, if you go and look, you can't tell the difference. So I went online. Somebody from the West Coast was looking for that fabric for their Pacer, and I mentioned that I had a bolt of it, and he was all, they want like $350 a yard for that fabric because it doesn't exist anymore. It's a finite supply. No one reproduces it. They made that seat in about 8 different colors. There was that color, there was red, there was purple, there was green, there was blue, there was black. Back in those days, interiors were like that. You could have any color you wanted.